weird card. Weird card to say the least. On a night where the UFC was competing with the PFL, they decided they're going to put on a show where there were barely any finishes, and the ones that ended in finish were so anticlimactic that by the time they ended the fight, you were like, 2 more minutes would have gone to decision anyway. Really bad night for the UFC, I thought. Zero hype, no hype for any fighter on the card. I thought the UFC lost some hype for a lot of fighters. Michel Pereira being one of them. I'm going to start off with talking about him for a quick second. He won the first round, potentially hurt up Anthony Hernandez, but overall had no gas tank, turns out. Has no gas tank at middleweight after the first round, had nothing for anyone. Look at the strike numbers. Apparently Hernandez broke a bunch of different records in this fight. Most takedowns attempted, most ground strikes in middleweight history, most strike differential in middleweight history. A lot of, and he broke his own personal record for the most amount of significant strikes. Michel Pereira is ass, turns out. I thought he was good. I thought he could be top 10 in the world, but apparently not. Maybe Hernandez is just some crazy top 3 level fighter, and I just don't know it yet, and then he'll go on to become that. Be the new Marvin Vettori of the division, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, Michel Pereira hype, gone. He will join Kevin Holland with the Abyss. And by the way, I know I forgot to upload... I didn't forget, by the way. I didn't upload a predictions pick, because I was about to, and the day I was supposed to get called into work. And then other things get stuff brought up, and then I just didn't have time, okay? I'll show you how I did on the betting. I'm not gonna lie, and you can tell by me lying with the fact that I didn't hit a single bet, and I lost a lot of money today. Terrible Michel Pereira and a terrible card, and it was capped off with one of the worst things that could have possibly happened. Down the line, Rob Font. Rob Font wins. 37 years old. Carla Phillips was a young gun. Exciting fighter. I don't really care about Carla Phillips too much. But Rob Font wins, and he's lost to the high-level guys. He's going to lose to someone else. They're going to give him another up-and-comer. Maybe Mario Batista. Give him Mario Batista. No one cares about Mario Batista. Give him that fight. Carla Phillips won the first round, and then Rob Font won the rest. Pieced him up on the feet. Carla Phillips looked like trash. Looked like he got tired, to be honest. Pieced up on the feet. Destroyed by Rob Font. Another prospect dies in this terrible... These Apex cards need to go away. Honestly, this entire card, if there's one thing that they showed us, is like, the UFC will not put on a good show on the Apex, and the Apex just won't be a good show in general, because there's no that energy, no crowd. Like, the fighters don't feed off anyone, and the interviews were trash afterwards. Hernandez was like, he was so strong, I just couldn't believe it, but then I broke him down. Like, Michel Pereira wouldn't get broken up by anyone that has cardio and doesn't get chinned in the first round. Watched a lot of this card as well. I switched over at one point to watch Ngannou, came back, watched the fights I missed. It was something. Charles Johnson and Suma Durji. Sue got robbed, I thought. I thought he won round 2 and 3. Had some good triangles on the bottom, but they gave it to Charles Johnson. Did I say Jourdain before? Who cares if I did? That was the fight. I have nothing to say. I have nothing. I have no excitement for this card. Like, I can't break down what happened and be like, okay, this is next, this is next, this is next. When I just have no excitement for these cards. And I'm starting to think now, for every single Apex card, for the predictions, I'll just do like a 6-minute quick prediction, and where I'll just give 1-sentence answers. And maybe that could do well. Maybe people would be interested in like seeing card breakdowns in 6 to 7 minutes, as opposed to 30 to 60 minutes. Or maybe sometimes 2 hours, if you watch Sherdog. Hadley had a late replacement opponent, Cameron Smotherman. Smothered him. You know what I mean? He didn't really smother him, didn't take him down. But pieced him up on the feet, beat Jake Hadley, and Jake Hadley is done. That's Jake Hadley done. I'm not saying that Smotherman couldn't be a great fighter going down the line, but Hadley, you're gone. You're gone, mate. Get out of here. No more of Hadley. He'll keep fighting, he'll be a good fighter, but no more will I be looking at a card and saying, oh yeah, well, you know, it's not the worst card in the world, it's got Jake Hadley on it. Those days are behind us. Jake Hadley, if you're on a card, it is the worst card in the world, because if you're on the main card of any card, it's probably an Apex, and that Apex is being main evented by a women's fight or a Neil Magny forced garbage fest. Shit down. Such high level analysis, you know, you can really tell that I'm such a hardcore fan of MMA. I'm telling you guys what happened, how it happened, what to feel, how it made you feel, the techniques that were used. That's the main part. When I break these things down, the main thing I care about is the technique. And the technique in this fight was Hadley being really shit at fighting. That was the main technique. Smotherman is good, like he's obviously good himself, but Hadley is garbage. Darren Elkins versus Daniel Pineda. I thought Pineda won, honestly. I thought rounds 2 and 3 were Pineda's. I thought he busted. No, but he got busted. I can see why the visual damage they thought. Darren Elkins win. Keep in mind, Darren Elkins has been around for what it feels like 20 years at this stage. Like, I just weirdly remember him, like, being a contender back in the day, like 6 years ago, and then being unranked before that, and then being washed up, and now he's getting wins in 2024. Insanity! I thought Pineda did more in round 2 and 3. I don't know what this round by round breakdown is, but they have Darren Elkins winning. It was a great fight. Good fight. Fun fight. They started the card off well. Fun fight. Darren Elkins won round the better shots. Took down Pineda a few times, and there was a nasty cut on over Pineda's eye. But yeah, that was the card. I'm just going to go through this because I've already made a video today, which will come out later on. This card just needs to be get out of the way because what do you want me to say here? I still have a trilogy of women's fight coming up, which weren't actually as bad as you would think, but almost like that was, if there's an advertisement to go watch the other show for the PFL, it's that. Like, you have 3 back-to-back-to-back women's fights. It's like, okay, I want to watch some MMA, but this is crazy. What else can I watch? And guess what? The moment those 3 women's fights ended, I switched over to the PFL, straight into another women's fight. But that was Cyborg and Larissa, and they both look like men, so that was a penis. That was a penis fight. Speaking of penises, Mateus Nicolau versus Asu Almabayev. The short king Almabayev won this fight, landing 55 seems like a high number. There was nothing in that first round. I thought Nicolau won the first round, but there was nothing in the first round. Striking at a distance. I thought Nicolau landed a few extra strikes, but overall nothing happened in that first round. I was dead. Second round, I thought Asu did enough to win. Again, back and forth, kind of close. Short king Asu gets that done, and in the third round drops Nicolau. Nicolau scrambles, fights from bottom, tries to survive, gets beaten up a little bit. Asu decisively wins the fight. The round and the fight, I thought it was clearly 2 rounds to 1. Asu wins, 1-1 going to the third. He gets it done. He's short. He's funny looking. You know what? Just the fact that he's so short, and like even for the flyweights, I think he could have some fun fights. If he gets a big fight, he'll be like, okay, it's a short dude versus that other skinny, short relative to the human race dude. The flyweights. Brad Katona versus Gene Matsumoto. Good fight. Probably the fight of the night, if I'm being completely honest with you. Just by the fact that their faces are so red and they're like orange and yellow in the picture that I'm showing you. Kind of just shows that probably had something going on in it, you know what I mean? Few takedowns here and there. Overall, though, old mate, what's his name? I can just look at the name. Gene Matsumoto got it done. Landed the more heavy strikes, I thought. Did more damage. There was control time from Brad Katona. It was a good fight. But here's the thing, right? At this point, I went back to watch this fight. So I already knew who won. So it didn't click with me. I could acknowledge when I was watching it, like, okay, this is a good fight. If I watched it live, like, it would be the fight of the night. But for some reason, I decided to switch over to the PFL and watch Larissa and what's-her-face fight for a little bit. And then I came back to this. It was a good striking fight on the feet. It was very good. Hard-hitting. No finish, though. Again, no finish. 29-28. No, really lacking in finishes here. Every fight so far in the main event was also a decision, by the way. The main event ended in, like, the 5th round. Oh, I didn't even tell you guys that. Fuck it. It's just a stupid video, isn't it? It's a stupid video about a stupid card. And the fact that I didn't even make predictions for it, I don't actually mind doing this. Usually I'd give out a much larger video, 25, 30 minutes like most people do. Have each fight individually broken down, but this time, like, fuck this. You know what I mean? Gene Matsumoto got it done. If there was a fight that you could have had a good time watching, it was this one. Then there was Josephine Edwards, who I swear to God is the sister of Leon Edwards. Not because of their last name, not because of the color of their skin, nothing racist like that, but the fact that, well, I mean, I guess technically, right? She looks exactly like Leon Edwards, the same face structure, same forehead. It looks like Leon Edwards with, like, hair extensions, honestly. And the person she was fighting straight up looked... I didn't know much about these two gals. I thought Tamirez would win just because of how purely lesbian she looked. Anyway, Josephine got it done in the 3rd round, got a submission, finally. There was like less than 30 seconds left. She finally got a finish. This is like, if this finishes, do we have to watch the entire fight of the entire women's fight, basically, and then we get a finish, and then we're like, okay. And it's not like Josephine wasn't already winning. She was clearly winning. Take her down, controlled her. Tamira's had nothing really on the feet or on the ground. She was kind of shit, to be honest. 7-4 record makes sense. She's garbage. She's almost a 50-50 fighter. Got destroyed. Josephine had the big guat, you know what I mean? She had the massive guat, and that probably gave her a lot of takedown strength, to be honest. You know, core, engage your glutes when you're pushing through for a takedown. The intricacies of fighting. Get this video 10,000 views. What the hell? Well, who else is going to break down a fight to that minute detail? Jessica Penne versus Alyssa Reed. Jessica Penne, former title challenger. I remember her from back in the day. Wins the first round. Another one of those big gats, you know what I mean? The 13 takedown attempts. Only got one in the first round, I believe. Did really well in the first round. Thought it was good striking on the feet, good takedown threat. Everything was well. And then Elise Reed, power of lesbian. Last fight didn't work. This fight it works. Recently got married, so it was that extra little boost that she had. Why am I saying this stuff? This video is just entirely just because I just wanted to make a video, and I wanted to show you guys the amount of money that I lost and what my total profit to loss margin is this year. That's the only reason. So I just want to this is high level. Elise Reed wins rounds 2 and 3, better striker, pieces up Penne. Penne couldn't do anything, couldn't even, she was going for takedowns. She had the big gut. Couldn't use it properly, couldn't use it to its full potential, couldn't take her down. Stuffs the takedowns. Meh. Now, the Holy Trinity gets completed by Melissa Martinez versus Alice Ardelian. Classic case of reffing almost ruining a fight. In the third round, Alice gets body kicked real hard, and the ref is like, hold on a minute, we can't let a finish happen. That would almost make this card acceptable. That would always make this next 3 women's fights acceptable to watch. Nope, he steps in, acts like he probably thought it was a groin shot. It wasn't. Alice just hunched over like you would for a groin strike. No one that gets hit to the body usually just goes ooh and then just hunches over. Usually they back off, they go ooh from a distance with their hands up in the air or hands down, move up against the fence usually, or circle around, do something that isn't just finish me right now. Melissa Martinez goes to finish her, lands some good strikes. There's a minute 30 left. She probably would have got the finish, to be honest. She clearly would have won. And then the ref just stops in, breaks him up, looks at the replay, and then I think, okay, so the replay's being watched, so fight will end. Nah, doesn't end. The ref is like, let's go back into it. And at that point I was scared, because I was like, holy, wait a minute. The first 2 rounds are close. Alice actually outlanded Melissa on the feet in the last 2 rounds in terms of just total number of significant strikes. Melissa was the more flashy, probably the more damaging shots, but they weren't knockdown shots though. They weren't big enough for her to steal the round. So I was thinking at the time, it's either 1-1 going to the third, or it's 2-0 Alice, to be honest. And then apparently no, all 3 judges had it 30-27, which is great for Melissa, which is crazy. I don't know what they were watching, but yeah, Melissa had really good kicks, and this is just strawweight women's MMA, which is better than every other division's MMA in my opinion. Throwing good kicks, threw an axe kick at one point and landed with an axe kick, if you can believe it. An axe kick landed by a women's fighter. Insanity. At one point hit a sweet chin music. I swear to God, she hit a sweet chin music on Alice. Ardelian. A lot of good striking. I'm glad she won. She looked like fun. She looked like a fun fighter. Looks like she can have fun fights going into the future. Not the worst fighter to win. And if she's on a card, and then I remember her from this performance and how fun she looked when she was striking, even though there was no finish. And then probably won't be a finish in her near future. But I wouldn't be the most upset in the world, in my opinion. And in the last fight on Breakdown, the shit fest that started this all. The point 1 of the beginning point of the universe, the beginning point of this card, the singularity that destroyed this card. Austin Lane and Rebellis Despain killed my parlay straight off the bat with this one. Rebellis, you are garbage. Austin Lane lost to one of the Tafa bros, Justin Tafa, I believe. Is terrible just from that happening. You cannot lose to a Tafa and then... Didn't wrestle in that fight either, by the way. I don't think he wrestled in that fight. But for this fight, just spamming takedowns one after the other. Rebellis arguably could have won the first round. I thought he did actually win the first round, if I'm remembering right. Yeah, I thought Rebellis won the first round. I needed more hard strikes, but Austin Lane attempted takedowns. Didn't get it too long. Rebellis got up, and then he gasses like a fucking bitch. Kills my parlay straight off the bat, and then couldn't do anything, couldn't get up, couldn't do nothing. And that's against Austin Lane, guys. Like, Austin Lane lost to Junior Tafa. And don't get me wrong, maybe Rubelis beats the Tafa bros because their striking is, they're just power punches with no skill or technique. And Rubelis looks like he has some technique in the heavyweight division when it comes to striking, having power. Austin Lane has some striking technique, but probably worse than Despain's, but then he just spams takedowns, and Despain just can't do anything. He had the hype of like having 60-second knockouts, and now he's just gone back-to-back exposed as a fraudulent, terrible fighter, and just kind of from the UFC, he's from Cuba. Send him away to some place that isn't the UFC. Send him to PFL, 1FC, anywhere. Maybe he can fight Ngannou. You know what I mean? Maybe he can fight. Maybe PFL loves having ex-UFC fighters on. Maybe he can. But then Ngannou can wrestle now, and he'll finish him. Nothing of value here. Just a terrible, terrible night of fights. And this is how I did in predictions. Oh, unbelievable. Lost $275. I had a 3-leg multi on Despain, Ngannou, and Kyle Phillips. Two of them got fraud checked brutally, by the way. Phillips and Despain with a brutal fraud check. Ngannou pulled through. But then after Ngannou, after my first fight failed Despain, I was like, screw this. Switched over to Ngannou versus Pereira. Was like, you know what? My content would be way more fun if Pereira won. I can make a reaction video. I can be like, this is what the PFL can't do. Make it a 20-minute video. Try to get some hype around it. And then Ngannou just won in the first round. And there's nothing to talk about other than the fact that Ngannou just got a knockout win. Annoying. And then the main event was a complete snooze fest, honestly. Michelle Pereira versus Anthony Hernandez. And if there's someone out there that says, oh, how can you say it's a snooze fest? Anthony Hernandez, the skillful grappler versus the striker, tale as old as time. Suck my nuts, please. Shut up. That shit was garbage. Michelle Pereira just gassing out in the first round. Just gassed out. Brutally gassed out. Had no power. Just a big body, muscly dude. Looks like a freak of nature, by the way. But in a fight, apparently just having a big body isn't what it used to be. Like, this isn't 1998, you know what I mean? You need some skill and some cardio and some running ability and something, really. And then that ended. 17 minutes I dragged this shit out for. I was hoping for this to be a quick one, but I guess it's not. But I'm going to end the video here. I'm on 54 subscribers. Like, share, and subscribe. Bad one, but I'm still in a total net positive. And keep in mind, this only started when I around UFC Renato Moicano versus Benoit Saint Denis. Only 4 events. Still up, but that was a brutal one. Next week, I'm going to have like over $1,000 on the UFC, but we'll see. 54 subscribers. Let's get me to 60 subscribers, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. See you next time. Let's get rid of the Apex.